Today on the Tim Manor podcast show, we've got my friend Maura Jackson, public speaker, host, and the CEO of Back Up Northwest.
Yes, I am.
How did you get into Back Up Northwest? What is Back Up Northwest?
Well, Back Up Northwest is a homeless charity for young people who are all aged between 16 and 25 from Bolton. And I've been the chief exec there for just over 12 years. But I've always worked in social care. Started off in housing years ago, worked for the council. And then, I kind of fell into that really by accident. I took a job for 7 weeks doing the filing in the town hall because they had a backlog. And I just had a baby and I thought, well, that'll be a bit of money, it'll do until I find something else.
How long ago was that?
That was in 1990 and I stayed for 7 years. And while I was there, I did a degree in housing and thought, this is it, that's what housing does. Nobody goes to school or college thinking I'm going to work in housing. It just doesn't, nobody does that. It's so bloody boring. But when you're in it and you can see what difference it makes to people's lives, I was hooked.
Like what? Like what sort of experience?
Well, just that you're making such a difference where people's complete environment where they spend all their lives, where they bring their families up, where it's their oasis, it's their haven, whatever it is to them. Home means something different to everybody. If it's not good, if it's not in good condition, if it's not in a nice place or the right place, it can have a really detrimental effect on your well-being and everything. And I used to think, it was just all about collecting rent and, dealing with grumpy neighbours or whatever, but it's just fascinating. So I ended up then really becoming interested around people who needed additional support. And that's how I fell into more of the social care aspects and working with people with extra needs, so especially around homelessness.
When you keep saying the word fell into, is that luck that, or is it that actually someone seeing something in you and kind of going?
No, it was very much luck at the beginning, very much, because I always wanted to be a Spanish teacher, believe it or not. I can only swear in Spanish, so that's no good. But I was always going to be a teacher. That was the dream, and I just needed this job for the summer. And then I thought, oh no, I can do this. And I was just good at it. So I think I got to a stage where people did see there was something in me, but that was maybe 10 years later when I'd kind of made my mark and I was a bit more established. But initially it was very much luck. I mean, I could have took a job at bloody Burger King or something, I don't know.
What was when you were at school and stuff, like what were your sort of hopes and dreams then?
Well, as I said, I always wanted to go into teaching, but I was head girl at Mount St Joseph's, which then was a convent school on Willers Lane in Bolton. And
strict?
It were pretty strict. I mean, when they let boys in, it was not as strict anymore. It was a mayhem. But so I was head girl there. So it was a bit of a swat, bit of a, never a rule breaker, like petrified. Definitely not. Oh, definitely not, no.
Where's that come from then?
I don't know, because I'm the biggest rule breaker there is now, so... Yeah.
I would never have put you as an academic,
Honestly. Yeah, no, I've done it. I've got 2 degrees, several diplomas. I can do it when I put my mind to it, Tim.
But is that where your passion lies, that?
Oh, absolutely not. No, I'm not really interested in academia. That was a means to an end.
But it was a weird dynamic, having that rebellious side to you, but you've also got this academic, get your head down. 2 degrees, mate. Shit.
It is, but I knew it was a means to an end. It was, there were certain things you got to tick if you wanted to progress in that world, which I did. I was very ambitious. And so I think throughout my 20s in my working life, I were out every Friday, drinking till Sunday. People waited for me to come in and work on Monday and live vicariously through my exploits and wonder what I'd been doing. And I had quite a reputation as a party animal. But knew then really as I got, maybe sort of in my late 20s, I just thought, this doesn't last. It doesn't last this. You've got to be able to have more substance, and I'm not going to get that being the party animal and the class clown. I'm only going to get it if I get me, knuckle down and...
Were you class clown at school?
Prove my worth. Not really. No, I was just pretty average. No, definitely not a rule breaker. I weren't one of the cool kids, definitely not. But I wasn't, on the outside either. I was sort of middle of the road, really. Pretty average, boring.
Where did the sort of rebellious side of you come into? Can you remember that? Was it when you started going out drinking?
I don't think so. I think really the rebellious bit of me is actually comes out most when I'm defending other people. So I think it's that standing up for myself and other people's rights. So the rebelliousness was attached to that a lot of times. So sometimes it might look like I was just trying to pick a fight, but usually I was really trying to, you know, defend some sort of principle for either myself or someone else. And then when I learned over time where actually I can do that, I can do it well, I'm very articulate, I won't back down. If it's the right thing to do, I will not back down. You know, but I will also pick my battles. I'm not argumentative and I'm definitely not confrontational. So when I'm talking about fighting battles, I mean about tackling homelessness or dealing with domestic abuse and trying to tackle the injustice of that. And I channeled that sort of rebelliousness into something that was really positive and productive, and then realised quite quickly, I'm good at this. I can do it. And it's needed.
Powerful, that, mate.
Yeah. But it's only as you get older that you realise, you know, actually,
but how
there was
do you
a
like
pattern
that and then
there.
become a CEO? Because it's like people see that confrontational side of you, I'd say, and then kind of go, oh, we need to make her a CEO. Because people like that, they don't make CEOs, do they?
No, I wouldn't have thought so, because you need to be able to get on with all kinds of people, and if you've got somebody who's argumentative and, you know, basically an arsehole, you know, nobody's going to want you representing their charity or their organisation. You've got to be professional, you've got to, you know, be able to manage lots of different relationships, and I do it well. It's not a game I'm playing, this is me, and I'm the same person as I am in work, out of work, on stage, off stage. I'm just the same person all the time.
Talk to me about this becoming CEO then. How did that happen? Tell me that.
Well, this wasn't the first CEO job I've had. So I'd been doing lots of senior manager roles and leadership roles in homeless services and a prison service for women in the community in Liverpool. And from there then I'd seen a job advertised in London, which was the chief executive of a domestic abuse charity, which was relatively small then. And I thought, do you know what, I've just got divorced, my daughter's moved out, there's just me and the cat, and if I don't try something like this, I never will. This will never sort of present itself again. So I just applied for it, didn't think about where I might live, how this might work, and I got the job and then thought, oh God, I've got to move to London. Didn't have anywhere to live. Took lodgings with these two women, they were fantastic, they were never in. They went travelling around Southeast Asia for 6 months at a time, and I just looked after the flat. It was brilliant. I had a time of my life, but I was able to develop myself as a chief exec there in a charity world where nobody knew me. I had to start from scratch in terms of building up a reputation and being somebody that people wanted to work with and represent the organisation. And I grew the charity to 3 times its size in 3 years and left them in a really good position when I came back. And the only reason I came back to Bolton was because my granddaughter was born, and all of a sudden the centre of the universe, you know, changed then and everything became about her. So
how long ago was that? That
was in 2010, yeah. So, 2010. So she's 13 now, nearly 14. Yeah. Everything revolves around her.
So the Back Up Northwest, was that when?
So Back Up Northwest was the job that when I looked for a route to come back to Bolton, the job was advertised, but I used to work here before. I worked here many years ago as a support worker when I was like 26 or something for 2 years, but it was tiny then. There were only 5 of us that worked there. We supported 20 young people between us. And when I saw the director's job, chief exec job, I thought, well, I already love it because I've worked there before. I already kind of, you know, love everything it stands for. But I could go in and make it bigger and better. And I said to my mum, I don't know whether to take this job because I'm going to have to take a massive cut in salary. I've got a good lifestyle in London, but I do want to be in Bolton. I want to be near Ruby. You know, what shall I do? And she said, well, when you went to London, was it small then? I said, yeah, it was small. She said, did you earn less money? I said, yeah. She said, well, then just come here and do that. Come here and make Back Up bigger and make it how you want. And I thought, all right then, I will. And that was it. It was as simple as that. I had a vision. I knew that they needed to be stabilised and sustainable, which obviously is the same for any business. And I came in with that mindset and thought, that's what I'll do. I'll make it stronger. And I have done.
How is it going?
it's going really well. I mean, we're in one of those awkward predicaments where, like lots of charities, you wish you didn't exist. You know, nobody would want homelessness to exist just so that I can get paid. But we are needed, and we provide a really good service to those that need us. So I'm very proud of that. I've got a really brilliant set of people that work in the organisation, fantastic teams, brilliant colleagues, and it's just got bigger and bigger and bigger every year. So it's probably 6 times the size it was when I took it on in 2012. Now,
what would you say the biggest thing is that's helped you do that?
Tenacity, really, in that I won't give up. If there's something to be done, so if you've got this vision, and our vision is about tackling homelessness and making sure that young people don't experience homelessness in Bolton, right, okay, that's fine. Well, I could do that just by providing a few houses, but it needed to be more than that. It needed to be that the young people that came to us had an experience that was so positive, that was so impactful, that they're never homeless again in the rest of their entire lives. It needed to be a lot more than just not on the streets now. You know, there's a big difference between warehousing somebody and just shoving them in a room and saying, right, you'll be all right for a few weeks, to transforming their lives and giving them the skills and equipment that they need to be independent adults forever. It's massive. It's a massive responsibility. And also, when I first came to the job, this lad had to go at me one day because he said, oh, you just come to give me a rollicking about something. I said, I haven't. I wanted to meet you. And he said, you don't give a shit about us. You go home at 5 o'clock, you've got a car, you've got a house, you don't care. I said, it's not like that at all. But it did make me go away and think about, you know, what he'd said. And so I went and spoke to the staff the next day and I said, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to live on the scheme for a week. So I'm going to set it up so the young people decide what I can take in terms of possessions and belongings, how much money I can have. And one of the flats, when it's in between lets, when it's being decorated or whatever, I'm not going to take a flat off somebody, but I'll just live there. I'll leave my house and I won't go back, sort of thing, for the week. And we'll just do a diary and, you know, just see, like a bit of an experiment kind of thing. Anyway, I did that. And they were quite ruthless with what I could have and what I could take and stuff. And it were freezing. It were in February. The gas weren't connected on the day I moved in. I were freezing my arse off. And I just thought, all the practical stuff you can deal with. You know, there were no knife. I couldn't chop vegetables. I were trying to cook. And I thought, what they're doing here? They said, we don't give them knives. What? Well, we don't give out sharp knives. What they're going to do? Run around stabbing people? Like, why do we not get... I want to peel a potato. Are we encouraging them to develop skills in the kitchen if we don't trust them with a flipping knife? Anyway, you know, we had some chats about that. But the worst thing for me, beyond being freezing, and was being lonely. And not having any visitors and not having any money to go anywhere to deal with the loneliness. So I went to the library a couple of days because you can sort of mooch about there for a bit, but there's only so much you can do there. And in the end, I just stayed in because I thought I can't even be bothered walking to the library. And I thought it took about 5 days where I thought, actually, I'd be quite happy if I didn't even get out of bed today, which is really not like me. I'm always doing something. So it was a real eye-opener. And I went back to the managers and said, it's not about the property. It's not about what we provide. It's not about the bedding. We have to do more than what we're doing. We have to absolutely fill people's time with positive activities, with motivation, with knives to peel potatoes. You know, we've got to treat them like young adults, which is what they are. And so I think, really, to answer your question, I've just tried to do things a bit differently and not just be, right, you know, here you're going to live, 3 strikes and you're out, let's see how you get on. Yeah. It's a lot more than that. And the proof is in the pudding, so they say. So our outcomes are absolutely fantastic, really positive outcomes.
Yeah, there's a lot to be said about being alone and loneliness. I'm on quite cool alone and on my own.
Yeah.
But there's a point where that turns into loneliness and you're like in your own head.
But also, I think as you mature, like being on your own and being great with your own company, which I am now, but that is not something that you have when you're 16. That's a skill. Yeah. You've got to learn to be comfortable in your own company and also think, I'm going to do this today because I like doing this. When you're 16, you know, it's a bit like, oh my God, who's going to entertain me? Oh, woe is me, I'm going back to bed. There's no in between. Yeah. They haven't got those skills to sort of think, it'll pass this, or I need to think about what could I do today to fill my day and be productive, and that might mean thinking a bit outside the box. They're not old enough. It's just as simple as that. They're not being arsey. They're not trying to be problematic. Yeah. At 16, you don't have them skills. People don't want to be on their own at 16. I'm 53. I'm quite happy when I'm on my own. Yeah. I prefer it now to anything else, to be honest. Well, you bugger off. But it's a totally different skill set. So that's the other thing,
I never thought about that, mate, to be honest.
It's really, it is,
you know. Think and 16, don't you? They're on the streets and like messing about and stuff, and if you've not got that,
it's horrible. It is. It's a horrible feeling. So I thought I learned a lot that week, and really,
doing that. Fair play to you.
You know, trying to chop a potato with a butter knife, it were hard. Nearly stabbed myself, but anyway, that's just one of those things. But
what things did you, so after learning that, what things did you put in place?
We went back then, and on a very practical level, we had a look at like the inventory of everything we put in a flat. You know, let's have a look at that. Is it enough? Well, no, we're nowhere near enough. Then we also went a step further and thought, well, what are the necessities, but also what makes it more like a home? So then we started putting furnishings in, and cushions and throws and plants, and you know, because otherwise they were just walking into quite a sterile environment, even though it was spotless, beautifully decorated, got new furniture in. It was pretty clinical. So it was like, right, we need to change this up a bit, put a bit of colour in the space, and then ask them, you know. So we've moved from that now to actually when somebody's moving in, we'll say, before you move in, you know, there's £100, we'll just go to B&M, you know, it doesn't have to be extortionate kind of money, but you want some little bits and pieces for around the flat. And, you know, they might pick a picture or a mirror or a throw or whatever it is, and that's what we do. And they can take them with them when they go.
It's heartbreaking, isn't it?
Yeah. It is, you know, and not all of the young people that come and live with us come from any aspects of poverty. Some of them come from quite affluent backgrounds. So sometimes we can get a bit of, you know, snobbery, but they soon get over that. You know, it's, you know, where's the Wi-Fi, and have you got a cappuccino machine in the I think, no, oh my God, no, get real. But then, you know, people are in really different positions. I once dealt with a lady who was fleeing domestic violence, and when I was dealing with her priorities for that week, she was saying that the biggest thing she needed to do was get transport to take her to the private school where her son was to watch sports day. And she just didn't have any money. And I thought, well, I can't pay for that. We're a charity, you know, this is ridiculous. We've got other women over here who've like not got any food and stuff like that. But then I thought, it's a real problem for her. This is her reality. And I said, well, what did you do before? And she said, I had an accountant, I had a driver. And I thought, it's a totally different world. Domestic violence cuts across every class. And it's the same with homelessness, you know, it really can happen to anybody. And so we learn really to try and, you know, listen to what the young people tell us about the background and make them as comfortable as we possibly can within limits. You know, it's not a limitless pot of money, but we can still be human about it and still give a shit and try and make sure that it's a really personal service. Yeah. Because even if they look back on this period in 10 years' time and think, bloody hell, that were awful, or that happened to me and then that was awful, I want them to remember that they were treated really well, that they were respected and that we looked after them, and not in a, you know, don't you like these curtains sort of way, in a way that really matters, which is about how they're treated and how we make them feel. Because the feedback we get now, Tim, about the flats is sort of negligible, and we put a lot of effort into them, but mostly it's about the day trips and when they felt excited and when they made friends and when they had a normal day out, and the stuff that a lot of families just take for granted. That's what matters. So that's what we try and use our extra funding for, and that's where I come in really, because I'm, you know, the face of backup to a lot of people, and it's my job to make sure that we've got all the resources that we need. What's
that pressure feel like on you doing that? Like, how do you sort of emotionally attach from it to... You know what, mate? You did that presentation, that public speaking. You said this is your circus, these are your monkeys.
Yeah.
And I'm like, Maura, I don't want to fucking hear that, mate. Because it's like, you're right in what you're saying. And I'm like, look, yeah, these are my monkeys. I need to do this shit, not just pass it off on someone else. So my question to you is like, how do you switch off to a degree? When do you know that sometimes they're not your monkeys? Are they always your monkeys? Because there's a lot of pressure that.
It is, and I think there's two answers to this. One is as a person, like me, and then there's as an organisation, which obviously are really interlinked because I lead in both. But one of the aspects, like this weekend, we had a phone call from somebody saying, Luke, there's a lad rough sleeping behind a pub. He's already on our waiting list. I'm in the pub. I don't know what to say to him. And I said, we're full. So I don't know what the answer is. You could, I gave her the information to get him to get to a place of safety, but it wasn't with us because we're full. We've got a waiting list of 150 odd people, and it's been like that for about a year. And so they had a little bit of a conflab with some people in the pub, and between 4 people, put him in a hotel for a week, and texted me back and said, he's in a hotel. I was like, good on you. I'll follow up on Monday where he is on our waiting list, so we'll sort that out. But it's really hard when you've got no wiggle room. So if we're full, that's it. The answer is we're full. And it's awful because you have to learn. Because sometimes there's wiggle room and there's other services, or, we might know other people who work in the sector and say, look, could you put them up for 3 days and we'll do that and you do this and then we'll swap and all that. There's none of that now. Resources have been strapped so tightly that a lot of those agencies have gone, and we're all that's left for young people. So if we're full, it really is, you are going to have to present at a police station. If you're over 18, that is the answer. Just for a place of safety.
Really?
Sitting in a police station, 19-year-old all night. That's not what the police stations are for, and who wants to do that anyway? So I think I've learned many, many years ago dealing with frontline work that if you allow yourself to take on and think, oh my God, I could just take them home, I just want to take them home and fix everything and rescue them, you're actually not going to help you, them, or the situation. So you have to have professional boundaries. It's a really key element of doing the kind of work that I do. And it's a big massive learning, area for everybody who works in it.
Boundaries.
Because if anybody has never thought that, then you're a liar. Everybody's had that thought at some point in their career where they just think, do you know what? Who would know? I'll just let them sleep on sofa or whatever, but you don't do it, obviously. It would be a sackable offence because of boundaries, because you're putting them at risk. You're putting yourself at risk. So you have to just know, make sure you know all the alternatives, and sometimes we have to turn them away, which is heartbreaking. It's really difficult, and that's becoming more common. But as an organisation, what we've tried to do for a long time is look at sort of situations and think, this is shit. That person is in the middle of a massive load of shit, and they have not caused any of it. This is not their choice. They've been assaulted, they've been abducted, they've been drugged, they've been sacked, they've been whatever it is, they're in the middle of a mess and they really haven't got anything. They've no money, they've no support, they've no whatever. So that's why we're even called backup, because that's us. But I have to sort of say, as an organisation, instead of thinking, oh, we can't do that, we don't do that, look at the situation and then work out what we can do. What can we do? And sometimes that has made us step outside of our boundaries a little bit, and not necessarily breaking rules or taking risks, but an element of that has enabled us to actually create different service models, where we've thought they don't fit into what we've got now, but we shouldn't have to shoehorn people in. We should design our services around them. Right. If that's what they need now, that's what they need. So that's been really useful, because I will take risks, but only if it benefits the beneficiaries, and I'm not going to do anything illegal or anything that doesn't comply with regulations and stuff like that. There's no way. But for example, we had a service once where, we're full and we've got the person saying, I'm rough sleeping, and you think, oh, fuck's sake, this is dire. And then we're like, right, what would happen if we let that person sleep in our communal room on the sofa? what's the worst case scenario there? Sort of like, right, it's on CCTV. They'd have no privacy. They'd have to go out of the room into a bathroom. There's no shower. It's only a toilet and a sink because it's not a dwelling. And how could we do that? There's no kitchen. How would we feed them? So in the end, we came up with a package for 3 days to allow him to spend the weekend with us in safety. And then on Monday, we could rehouse him. Now, out of that, I then put together a bid to another trust fund and said, we're going to set something up called Plan B, which is literally an emergency provision for somebody to stay with us. But they don't have to claim housing benefit. They don't have to register. We don't want all that hoo-ha. It has to be paid for within. So we need enough money for this, a bit of food, some transport costs so they can get a bus and everything to even get to us. And we did that for 2 years. And that's then developed into an emergency service, which we opened in 2021. Wow. Because we knew that we were getting more and more of those high need requests. So that's emerged into a fully functioning block of 12 bed sits with staff on site 24 hours. So that's 7 years since we first did that case and thought, we need to do something with him. We can't just walk away from this. And now that's emerged and evolved into a fully fledged emergency assessment centre.
Mint that, isn't it?
It's ace. It's ace. It's such a good feeling that you think that little thing where somebody said, no, really, what we're going to do? The answer can't just be we're full. We have to look at something else. And that's what we're good at Backup. And I like to think that I encourage that. It isn't just a tick, tick, tick. Here's your keys, you go over there, don't bother us. It's not like that at all. The amount of young people that refer to us as family is unreal. And if they're on the phone to people, oh yeah, I'm just at home, I'll see you later. That's the language that they use. It's really lovely. And you just think you're having such a massive impact.
What's one that's really got to you? Give me a story that's like will always stay with you for the rest of your time.
Well, there was a young woman when I was working there the first time, and it was Christmas Eve, and she was in one of our accommodations, and the fire brigade rung up to say there'd been a fire in the flat. She was all right. She'd left the tea light burning on top of a stereo and it just gone straight through, and it were all mostly smoke damage, but she were choking and what have you, gone to hospital, and they said she can't go back to the flat, it's a mess. And that was one of those occasions where I just thought, it's Christmas Eve. If I just took her home, would anybody really know? We didn't have Facebook then, it wouldn't be on social media. So I thought about it for 10 minutes and then I thought, no, I'm going to get fired, I can't do it. So I spent the afternoon with her, ringing people and can she stay with you, can she stay with you? And in the end, one of her friends took her in and we were sorted, but I really nearly just put her in the car and said, you're going to have to just come on with me. I've never forgot that, and not least because I see her regularly. She's got a senior position in a citizen advice centre. So she supports other people now that are in housing crisis. I don't think that's an accident. I think that's because of her own experiences. And so that always sticks with me. The other one is another young woman that I supported when I was the first time round. And she was living in a house in Dobble. And she was petrified. She was really frightened about being on her own, never lived on her own before. Every little noise used to make her jump. She was just like a little mouse. And, oh my God, I'm going to get butchered in my bed. And it's not like that. And she was just really frightened. Anyway, she did really well. But they have no money. They have no, they've nothing. And I supported her for about 1.5 years. And she moved on and did well. Went to uni and got a family and everything. So when I came back to Backup in 2012, she was here doing sessional work. I'm like, I cannot believe you work here. She said, I just do bank work and blah, blah, blah. I've got 3 kids. And I thought, it's amazing. It's so lovely to see her. And she's now one of our managers. She's in our management team. She's gone from being a volunteer. She did a placement with us when she did a university degree, came in as a sessional worker, got a job as a full-time worker doing shifts, got a job as a full-time worker doing days, deputy manager, project manager. She's worked her way up. She's fantastic.
How many people do you reckon you've helped throughout the years? How much impact do you reckon you made through the years? I feel like you're one of them people that just give people a peggy up. You know when you get to a brick wall and you need a bit of a peggy
honestly,
up?
That's it.
Yeah, yeah.
We are the leg up people, yeah. I don't know, maybe 20,000 in a 32-year period.
Do you give you time? Do you give yourself time to realise the impact that you've made?
You don't think about it very often because you're just doing. You know,
time.
and every day there's something to do. It never stops. It's relentless. 5 of our services are 24/7, so there's always something happening. It just literally never stops. But I did a piece of work for when we turned 30 a couple of years ago, just to look at impact and looked at all the numbers and looked at the numbers of young people that had gone on to come back and work for us, which so far has been 12. And the different ones that we know about now that have kept in touch with us, who are like midwives, bankers, you know, a team manager at Marks and Spencer's, Sophie Willan, who's an actor, BAFTA award-winning comedian. She's one of our ex-residents. I mean, people can go on to do anything they want. We're just there to make sure that this little interruption, this moment of chaos, remains that's all it is.
Just a little leg up.
Yeah, absolutely.
I
just love it.
Yeah.
I just love it. And when I got the job, I said to my mum, I'll stay for 3 or 4 years, get them stable, and then I'll bobble off and do something else. And I'm in my 13th year now, and I've got no desire to be anywhere else. It's just every year it's like, oh, I'm going to do this year. There's always something where I think I can make it bigger, I can make it better, we can do more. And it's just never gone away. I'm just still there. Love it.
Can we talk about the comedy bit?
We can.
Can we talk about how did you get into that?
Well,
how did that first come about?
It first came about because through Backup, obviously I've had to host different events, either AGMs or fundraising stuff, golf days and all that. So you're on the microphone chatting to people or doing a presentation. So public speaking's always been a thing. And then I did a ladies' lunch a few years ago. I think the second or third time I'd done it. And I just ended up just filling time, telling a few stories and just daft dating stories, which were just true stories, like from when I was single. I thought, it'll be entertaining. And they just went down really well. They were really good. And somebody there said to me, oh, have you ever thought about doing stand-up comedy? I'm like, no, definitely not. Not for me. The thought of it makes me feel sick. And she said, I really think you should give it a go. I'm like, no. So 2-3 years went by. Maybe even longer than that. No, about 2 years. And then I had COVID. And I were at home, ill. And I saw an advert on Facebook for newbies in comedy doing a competition, people who've never done it before. I thought, I wonder if I should try that, because then at least I'll know whether I can do it or not. And if I can't do it, then I just won't do it again. You know, I'll sign up for it. Anyway, 3 days later, I rung him up and I said, I've sent this thing in. He said, yeah, I've put you down. I said, no, take me off the list. I've made a massive mistake. I went absolutely off my tits on codeine. There's no way. There's no way I'm doing it. So he said, well, why did you even press on it? What was even the appeal? So I told him what I've just told you. And he said, I really think you should give it a go. I'm like, right, okay then, I'll give it a try. I felt sorry for him and I didn't have the heart to say no. So then I was signed up for this thing, which was at the Definitely Maybe bar in town. Yeah. So I turned up there. I'm the only person who has literally never done it before out of this room of people.
Have you wrote something down? Got something prepared, yeah? And
I practiced it all and everything. I didn't have any notes. Other people were there with bits of notes and everything and prompt cards. And I thought, anyway. So there were 12 of us. I did my thing and I won. I won the competition. And I thought, well, that could be a fluke or, just be having a good day or whatever. So the next day, I rung the Frog and Bucket and said, I've won this competition in this thing. What, how do I get on? And I mean, she was laughing her head off. She's at it. Well, you don't just rock up here. I said, well, what happens next? You're the go-to place for comedy. How do I get on stage? And she said, just calm down. You need to register. We need to see you, you know, blah, blah, blah. Like, okay. Anyway, they do an open mic thing on a Monday night, but it is a gong show. You know, it's called Beat the Frog. And basically, you've got to do 5 minutes without being gonged off by the audience who think you're shit. And if you get through your 5 minutes, then that's called beating the frog. And if you beat the frog, everybody who beats the frog goes into like these heats that happen at the end of the year for the winner and all that. I didn't know any of this at the time. I just thought it was an open mic night, so I said yeah. So she said there's a 6-week waiting list. I thought I'd be doing it today. Just really impatient and I want to do it now. Anyway, I got an email then a couple of days later saying we've had a dropout for Monday. Do you want to do it? I'm like, yes. So I went there. Went on.
Have your nerves gone at this point? Are you just like, I want to do it?
I was nervous about 20 minutes before actual going on stage. So when I knew we were going on, I couldn't speak. I thought I was going to have a heart attack. I went to the toilet about 8 times. It's the best laxative known to man. I were in bits, and my husband's like, do you want a drink? I'm like, you need to not talk to me. Don't fucking talk. I can't cope. Anyway, I've learned now how to manage that.
Right.
Because I've done it so many times now. But anyway, I beat the frog.
What happens to you when you get on stage? With that nervousness, as soon as you get onto stage, what happens to
gone.
Maura?
It's gone.
What happens to you as a person when you get on there? Do you feel like...
Well, because I know what I'm going to say, because I've either written it, rehearsed it, practiced it or whatever, I just say it, you know, and it just comes out. But I think years of public speaking and being able to like organise events and stuff, if it doesn't come out exactly like I wrote it, I'm not bothered. I think some of the younger ones are a bit like, oh, you know, I had a punchline here and I missed this and I didn't take the cue. And I think, I don't give a shit, actually. I've had a good time. I mean, that wasn't always the case. That's taken a bit of time. But so the first few times I were panic-stricken and thinking, oh, my God, I've missed out a line. Shit, I forgot the punchline. You know, there's all that. There's a fear of forgetting what you're going to say, but it's never actually happened to me. I've never not remembered. And I've only seen one other person actually forget what they were going to say. And he just said, it's gone. I don't know what to say to you. I can't remember what I'm going to say. I just better hand the microphone back. So that was that. And I thought, it's not the end of the world. So now it doesn't bother me. Or I'll either just move on to something else because I've got so much material now. It just kind of flows. So... And mostly the people in the audience wouldn't know that I've missed a line or what. I mean, they wouldn't be able to tell any different. And occasionally, if I've really fucked it up, I will just say, thank you, menopause. This always makes life interesting. You know, I've got absolutely no memory or whatever, or, you know. So I think I'm just not bothered. I'm not bothered enough to be scared anymore.
When somebody asks you what you do you start off with them a comedian and then I'm the CEO of Backup Northwest, or do you do it the way around?
It depends who's asking.
Right.
So if they're asking and I think they're going to pay me loads of money to be a comedian, it's like, I'm absolutely a comedian.
Yeah.
And by the way, this is what I do. And the same with the other way around. If somebody's, you know, interested in Backup, then that comes first. I mean, it comes first anyway. But
to yourself, like, what would you say you're a comedian?
No, I'm the chief executive Backup first.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because the comedian stuff is a bit of a side hustle. And I've realised that I don't just like the performing, I like everything about it. I like the prep, I like doing the writing, you know, trying to make jokes work, doing the practice. I like the whole process from start to finish. And obviously I love it when I'm on stage and I love the feedback and everything because it's always good. But it's the whole thing just takes me away from everything. It's brilliant. It's like the best hobby ever. And sometimes I even get paid. It's fabulous.
So you beat the gong on the first one?
Beat the frog on the first one.
Beat the frog.
And so everybody who beats the frog, everybody who gets through the first 5 minutes, and not everybody does, goes back on stage at the end. And then the audience do like a clap off. And then that person is the winner of Beat the Frog. So I got through that. So I won that. So that was only the second time I'd ever performed. Anyway, you know, they weren't all as successful as that. I mean, I don't enter competitions as a rule. I realised quite quickly that actually I don't like doing the competitions because that is pressure that I don't really need. You know, it's absolutely, I just don't need it. So I thought, no, actually, I'm just going to do the open mic stuff and then go and do the stuff that I want to do, which is working out quite well. But I put on a comedy night myself as well, because I thought that's another thing. If you're going to be a comedian and you want this to be your only thing, and everybody who is a comedian will have done this, is you drive all over the place, all over the UK, at your own expense, perform for free. If you're lucky, you'll get half a Diet Coke for years before anything starts coming through paid work. And I don't know any other industry where that happens. It's because there are people making money. Somebody's making money because you're in a bar or a venue or whatever, and people are in there paying ticket money or paying for drinks. Somebody's making money somewhere off this circuit, and there are thousands of comics travelling around all the time, every day, performing for free, just so that we can build up the stage time, because that is the route into doing stand-up comedy. It's the only way you can practice is by actually doing it. So when you've never done it before and you need that stage time, you'll go and do it wherever you can. But I've been to Birmingham, I've drove to Wales, Lancaster, to do 10 minutes, 5 minutes, come back, same day. And then when I get there, I meet people from bloody Scotland and Leicester, and I've put a night on in Bolton, and a girl came up from London. I said, are you off your head? You're doing 5 minutes for me in Bolton, in the Spice Valley, and you've driven up from London? She went, yeah.
For the love of comedy.
I think you're bloody daft as a box of frogs. Why would you... Should you know the game? We're all playing a game. And I think it's hard work. So that's why I started putting on the nights at Spice Valley. I thought if I do my own night, I'm going to have to go to Norwich.
Yeah.
Because I'm just lazy. I'm not lazy. I think I'm trying to be smart about it. Because actually another comic on the circuit had the audacity to say to me, you've got no right putting a night on. You're nowhere near that level. And I said, why? I don't want to drive to Leicester every time I want to do 10 minutes. Or wherever. Leeds, I seem to do a lot in Bradford, I don't know why. I said, to me, it's just like the smart thing to do. I said, and I've sold out every time. Every single time it's sold out, 75 people. I've done about 10 now.
That's amazing, that, mate.
And everyone, then I just thought, right, I've got a room full of people. I've got comics who are coming in. I'm going to pay them. They're not doing freebies for me. So it started off where it were low and it paid like the travel expenses or whatever, but now it's proper pay. It's the going rates. But I think, no.
You love helping people, don't you?
Yeah.
Because
they're like, well, you could keep that money. I think, yeah, but then I'm mourning that some other bastard's doing it to me and making me drive to, Cleethorpes or wherever. Where
does it come from, that looking after other people? Is that just a natural thing? Like, there was a point in your life where nobody had your back?
I think really it probably comes from a childhood of living in a violent household.
Right. And
when it kicked off, which it did often, I'd scoop my little brother up and say, come on, we need to go next door. And I might have been 5 then.
Wow.
So it sort of started early, and maybe it's just never really left me.
Alcohol.
Yeah. Yeah. But it's dead now, so there's silver lining in every story. But
do you ever talk about that side? Do you ever go into with other people and stuff? I just wondered where it came from more, because mate, you've got this, it's not happening to you. I've got your back,
Yeah. I have, and even I think the few people that I've met in comedy, I mean, there's quite a lot. And if I boot them for a night now, it's like, well, they'll get paid and they'll get drinks and they get a meal because I pay Sanji for the food. And I think, yeah, if you've got a guest, if you've got somebody doing something for you, they're helping me to fill the room. We're putting a great night on. I'm getting paid, you're getting paid. The business, the venue, the restaurant is getting money. It's win-win here. We don't need to be exploiting anybody. Yeah. We're all having a good time. And it means that every time I do it, it just gets better and better. But a couple of the comics have said people are starting to talk now about trying to get booked onto your gigs because they're so good. Yeah. So it is good. It's a nice feeling. I quite like that.
Because you know what it feels like to fend for yourself.
Yeah.
You're like, I'm not going to let everyone else feel like that.
I mean, it's not...
It's a bit of a running theme.
there is a running theme, and I can see it now that you reflect it back so well in my face. You just have to turn the mirror right into my face. But it's also, it's not, I'm not rescuing, I'm empowering. Because any of the other promoters who do comedy or music or whatever, it doesn't matter what it is, you don't have to be taking. If you give, it will come anywhere. Yeah. And that's what works. So the other thing I've done with some of the comedy nights is said to other charities, not backup. I mean, I have done backup, but I've said to other charities that I like, there's a room full of people there. If you want to come and run a raffle, I don't want to do it. I don't want the hassle of it when I'm trying to perform. But you come in and do it. And there's never been less than 300 quid on the raffle. So it's just a nice little bonus for somebody else then as well. It's just a nice model. And I think why it works. So when this guy's saying to me, you've not kind of earned your stripes for this yet, you've not had enough stage time, I thought, fuck off. You're just annoyed because you didn't think of it first. Yeah. And I'm just trying to apply some of my business acumen to the same thing. I can't help it. But everybody wins here. And it's a really good night. So I do them either every month or every other month at Spice Valley in Norwich, and they're really good. So now other people are asking me to put comedy nights on for them privately. I've done one for a group of solicitors who said we won't do like a staff night out. Will you sort out all the comics, get them all there? We'll fill the room. You just make the night happen. I've done a few, yeah. It's been really good. And I get to meet loads of people. I get to watch other comics who are better than me, more experienced than me. I think this is win-win and win because I'm learning all the time. It's ace. And I'm getting to be around people who this has worked well. And they're really happy to share their experiences and help you. It's a really supportive environment, apart from this one who said, I've not earned my stripes. I thought,
you need that though, don't you?
Off.
You need that person, because someone told me you need to stop what you're doing because you're not good enough. And I use him as fuel. I just use him as fuel.
Yeah.
I'm like, you fucking what?
Yeah.
What? I'll fucking show you.
I know.
I love that, mate, when someone tells me that.
Yeah.
You get me back up and I'm like...
I thought, are you joking? I felt like saying to him, do you know who I am? Do you know what I do? I don't give up on anything. And if I've decided this is how it's going to be, then it fucking is.
How do you get that self-belief in yourself, Maura? Is it just through time that? Is it just kind of, you seeing what you've accomplished and kind of going, I'm fucking good at what I do and I'm all right saying it? Because, so many people, mate, and with just so low self-worth, obviously you see it. How do you give them some of that?
It's quite a hard question to answer that, because part of it does come with age and... experience and wisdom, but then you think, well, I think naturally as people, we don't want to come across as being cocky or arrogant, and so perhaps sometimes that would do. So you'd be a bit more reserved about how you describe yourself. But actually, the more I think about it, I think it doesn't matter what is presented to me, I will deal with it. It doesn't matter if someone's died, if there's been a hideous incident, the most graphic, horrific, abusive scenario you can imagine, whatever it is, it can be presented to me, and what we're doing, how do we, resolve this, where we're going. I went on a course many years ago, and it was about your values and your qualities, and trying to make sure that whatever you had was aligned with what you did, like a personal development course. Yeah. And at first I thought, it's a bit woo-woo this. I can't be, they're going to get the burning incense out in a minute. I can't cope with this shit. But the one thing that they said, we had to look at thousands of values written down on little cards and then drill it down and drill it down, drill it down. It took about 4 hours of asking different questions, and you end up with your top 8. And I thought, it's really hard this actually. And we all had to then work out what our own superpower was. And the woman said to me, you are the first time this has ever come up as a superpower. I've never seen it before or since. And honestly, my superpower is having a limitless capacity to take other people's problems on. And it took me ages to be able to sort of say that out loud. And it sounds a bit grand, really, but it really, honestly, it wouldn't matter. I just don't get overwhelmed. I don't get overwhelmed with volume. I'm so solution focused and pragmatic. And I don't know whether that comes from a history of having to just deal with risk. Compartmentalise, put that there. I don't worry about things. I don't worry about anything. Very rarely worry. Because I just think I can't fix that. That's not in my control. And I can only do that when I get that next Tuesday or when I get that in August. So I just think I'll put it over there and it's gone. And it's just gone. I don't know where that comes from, but I absolutely love it. It's very helpful. Like that. Yeah, it's really good.
Yeah, because people are like, oh, I've got a scan in the hospital at what's it, and then off down the road we go.
No, just it's none of that Dr. Google shit. I don't do that. So what is I don't speculate. Like literally, if somebody says to me, my husband hates it, really winds him up, but it's so funny. It's like picking the wings off a fly, and he'll say, I wonder what they're doing over there. I think, why? And what do you mean? Why? Why are you even bothered? It's nothing to do with us. I know, but they've got such and such. Like, honestly, I'm not interested. Not remotely interested. And I think, is it me? Am I the odd one out? I think I don't care anymore, actually. I don't give a shit. It suits me. But I don't speculate. I don't think, oh, if she does this, he'll do that, and then I'll have to... I don't. I just think, what are the facts? What are the facts that I know to be true? And what can I do with it? Who needs me and what do I need? And it's as simple as that. But it's taken me a long time to be able to sort of articulate that in a way that makes sense. I used to just think, I actually worried at one point. I thought I'm a bit of a rescuer.
Right, okay.
But I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm definitely not. Because I'll help people, but then if they don't help themselves, I've got a pretty low tolerance. Yeah. Somebody once offered me a job at Samaritans. I'm like, no, I don't think so. You don't want me on the end of the phone. Because I'm like, we discussed this last week. You rang last Thursday and we discussed this and you've done it again. Stop it. So that's not what they need. I know my limits.
Do you think that's quite a big gift that your dad's given you?
It is, because even though he's an absolute twat, and I've got nothing good to say about him, he was very charismatic, very confident, even though it was bordering on delusional. And that, those qualities I've definitely got. But I seem to have more than enough for a couple of people.
What a massive superpower that is, mate, isn't it?
It is now, because I know how to use it for...
Even you just saying it, I know the power and strength within that way of being able to do that.
I am a strong person, mentally and physically. Because I just think, no, there's a vision there, or, I've made an agreement with somebody to do that. There's no way I'd let them down. It just won't happen. I move hell and high water to make sure that something is followed through if I've said I'm going to do it. Whether that's with backup and, long-term, short-term, today, tomorrow, whatever. Mates, mum, everything. I get really angry when people question my integrity, and that's when I started to realise. Yeah, that's when I realised that was the most important thing. Because when somebody else questioned me on it, I've just thought, why am I so annoyed about this? Like, they don't even matter. Why is it bugging me so much that they? And then I realised afterwards, it's when people have questioned my integrity or my agenda. I just think there is no agenda. The agenda's clear. This is what backup does. This is what I do. There is no agenda. I'm just not that person.
This is what I try to explain to people about brands. And all a brand is a set of values and a set of behaviours.
Of course it is.
Not what it looks like, the logo, the fucking website. Yeah. It's your values and your behaviours attached to your business. And it's like, stick to them. Don't go away from them.
Yeah.
And this is who we are.
Well, if you pretend you're something else, you've got to maintain that. Yeah. And imagine that's really hard work, actually.
Really hard work.
And probably make you ill.
Yeah.
I couldn't cope with that. No. Couldn't cope with that.
Putting the mask on.
But I think that's how I ended up with the Feather Fixer as my brand, as my non-backup logo, because I'd been talking to people about qualities and values, and that the Indian chief headdress came about because the warrior or whatever was given a feather, every time they came back from a battle unharmed. So that's how the chief ended up being the chief, because they had the biggest one. Right, so therefore they were considered to be the bravest person in the tribe. But I also found out when I did this bit of Googling was that those people were just as likely to be women as they were men, and that the term Indian chief is gender neutral. Yeah. And I thought, I love that. Yeah, I love that. What a great thing. And I thought, right, we have feathers. We earn feathers. You know, if we had a virtual headdress on, it'd be absolutely frigging massive. So I started using that in presentations to the audience. Think about how many feathers you've got, how big they are, what colour are they, what did you get them for? And some of them will be for battles that you fought for other people that you don't even know. You support backup, so you're fighting a homeless battle for people you're never going to meet, but you still do it because you know it's the right thing to do. So you've got your feathers. So I kept going on about this feathers, and it's just took over my bloody life now, because I'm now the feather fixer. So of course I had to have a tattoo, but yeah, you know, that's the logo now, and it's I'm the person that will help you to fix and find your feathers, and it fits in with everything. It's like I've been doing that all my life. I just found a term for it now. So it was, the thing is though, when you go onto a comedy gig and you say, here she is, the feather fixer, they expect a pissing burlesque dancer with a feathery fan or, you know, a pair of coconuts on my tits or whatever. And they're so disappointed when they get met with an overweight, middle-aged Boltonian with this accent. It's like, fucking hell, I thought we were getting some excitement there. Feather fixer. She's fucking shit.
Incredible, mate, isn't it?
I've
just never met anybody like you. It's fucking nuts. Absolutely bonkers. You've got this beautiful creative comedy side to you, this logistical, compartmental. I'm just like, can you be both? It's like, but you're so good at both of them that it's just like...
It's weird, isn't it?
Really weird. Really weird.
Because actually, maybe 5 years ago, if somebody was asking, you know, are you creative, I would have said no. And a couple of things have happened at Backup that made me think, do you know what? I am creative. Yeah. So one of them was producing and directing a music video. We were changing the name of the charity and I wanted to do something to sort of mark that. And I thought, right, I'm going to make a music video. And I'm going to copy the video of Our House by Madness. Yeah. So I watched the video, thought, right, how can we sort of replicate that? We involved all our staff, young people, got videographers in, staged it all, went off, got the permission for the music and the lyrics and everything, did it properly, like, so we got legal permission to use the music, and just did it. Took me about 18 months to sort the legal stuff out, but I thought, I'm definitely doing this, it'll be brilliant. And it were ace, it's ace. People love it. So a few years later I did another one. And I thought, I'm pretty good at this. So I got Heather Small involved in the second one because we used an M People track, moving on up. Yeah. So all our like supporters and young people dancing around. And I say to people sometimes, if you looked online at stuff that I've done, you must think, all she does is dick about. She doesn't do anything. But I can assure you, behind the scenes, I'm grafting my arse off. You know, because my job's to make sure we got all the money.
That's the thing, isn't it? The perception of like Maura, it's just like when you do, you're like blowing, you swearing and stuff like, she don't do fuck all her. But like you've just got this other side to you that people don't even realise.
Well, that's the beauty of social media, isn't it? You know, nobody wants to watch me sat at my desk for 50 hours a week, typing grant applications, filling in spreadsheets, doing budgets. But that is the reality of my life. You know, the stuff that's visible on LinkedIn or wherever is the dicking about stuff, but that's the stuff that engages the audience, and that is, you know, it is a huge part of me and what I'm doing. But there's a lot of hard work behind it, a lot.
Do you get time to sort of like be proud of yourself and what you've done? Do you give yourself permission to be proud?
I think more so now than you know in years gone by, because. And then there's that thing about, you know, when you're doing, you're not really reflecting, are you, as well? So even having a conversation like this, it's like, fucking hell. Yeah, I'm feeling pretty proud, really. But yeah, whenever we have an event at work or, you know, I put the annual report together and people will send me different information to go in that and I put that together, I think that's a brilliant summary of a year's work and it makes me proud of the organisation and the role that I play in it. But even, you know, when you find out, like, today we've had a meeting before I came here, and a young woman that would really struggle to get moving on, got a flat, doing well, and you just think, yeah, it's paying off. Every day there's a little sparkling moment of somebody, you know, with a joyous outcome, and I think that's what it's all about, those little sparkling moments that happen all the time. And the role that I play in that, you know, even though I'm not on the front line anymore, it's just as important as anybody else's, because I need to make sure that they've got everything they need to be able to keep doing that.
Yeah.
And I just absolutely love it. And even talking about it now reignites how passionate I am about the work. Yeah. But I feel the same about the comedy.
Yeah.
I'm very lucky, actually. Really lucky.
You're an amazing public speaker, you know.
I do enjoy it.
You're so engaging. You're so engaging.
I'm doing one on Wednesday, leadership for the North West Ambulance Service.
Really good. The leadership thing, mate. I was like, wow, that's coming from a different place. I've heard a lot of leadership stuff. I've heard a lot of shit. But you like coming from a total different place. It was from experience. It was from darkness. I was like, okay, I need to listen to this. And it did come back to them values, and you know, these are my monkeys. This is my circus. And you know what? Maybe it is. Maybe I do need to not like cut things off so soon. Maybe I do need to do this.
Yeah.
You know, it's easy to say, oh yeah, it's not my bucket, this isn't my circus.
Yeah, and you know, sometimes you have to do that kind of toxicity, whether it's inside your team, outside. Sometimes, you know, you need to get rid of the monkeys. But actually, I just thought, no, when it is our circus and it is our monkeys, do the right thing. Yeah. Coming back to integrity, whatever. Yeah. Do the right thing. Don't be dictated by the council. Don't be dictated by, you know, someone else who gives you a tiny bit of money and it's not enough to make a difference. Find the money. I'm not relying on the council for a grant, so that's not having a go at the council. It's just the money's not available. So there's no point me sitting there like Oliver Bastard Twist waiting for handouts from them. Yeah. Thought I might as well go and find the money myself so that we can give that quality service. So that's what I've done. I'm not going to be reliant on people like that. So obviously they play a part and they do fund us, but, you know, that's all right if we just want to put 12 people in a dormitory. And
it's not enough.
It's nowhere near enough. Nowhere near enough.
Through everything you've been through, right, what does success look like to you? What is success?
Oh...
For you, just for yourself, for Maura, what is that?
God, you might have actually asked me a question I don't know the answer to.
It's something I'm really interested in at the minute. I'm asking like people that I respect that, you know, from the outside I think are successful, but I just wondered what they thought success looked like to them, not me just thinking it from the outside.
I think a few years ago, and not that many years ago, really, I would have thought it was status around maybe job title or job salary. You know, a bit like Keeping Up with the Joneses bullshit. Yeah. But again, you know, you get to an age and you learn and you think that's not what matters. They're not the important things. They're lovely, but they're not really the be-all and end-all. So I think our grandchildren moved in with us in 2019 as a result of child protection situation. It's supposed to be temporary. Then it was going to be a 26-week care order. That went on for 74 weeks because of COVID. And then, long story short, they now live with us permanently and we're coming up to 5 years. Now, before then, I were working full-time, Ian working full-time, got good jobs. We've got a Shih Tzu. We just bobble off for the weekend, you know, living the dream on Facebook as you do, and cocktails and all that shit that you need to take pictures of all the time. And then when they moved in, it very quickly, success became things like, well, I've just completed potty training for a bloody 1-year-old and got him weaned off his dummy and he's at nursery. They're all where they should be at the right time. They've had dental checkups. They're getting regular. And I just thought, oh my God, I've gone back like 25 years to being a full-time parent. So I think that changed everything for me then. So we moved house to be able to have somewhere bigger because they were going to live with us permanently. And success has been different now. It's more to do with it being a feeling of contentment, you know, is what you're doing enough?
Yeah.
And I think I could honestly say I was probably doing too much before. So it's not a very succinct answer to your question, but I think that for me, success now is about contentment.
Yeah.
Have you got enough in terms of material stuff? You know, there's no bailiffs coming, everybody's fed, all those sort of like lovely things. You know, we've got a couple of holidays booked, cars running. I've got 2 Shih Tzus who I absolutely adore, and the kids are happy. I think I'm successful. So anything else now is just an absolute bonus, really.
That's a beautiful way to answer it.
Yeah.
Good, that.
Yeah, thanks for asking me that. Wouldn't have thought about that otherwise.
Yeah. That peace of mind.
Yeah, peace of mind is it's priceless, isn't it? It is, it's priceless.
Yeah. You've been given such a big gift, you. It's I can't even fathom it in my mind how beautiful that mind must be that you can do that for yourself. Where everyone else is like, I wonder what they're doing, or problem comes in and I'm thinking about it for 2 days to get to the doctors to kind of go, oh no, everything's clear. Like, I've just been worried for fucking 2 fucking days.
Yeah, for nothing.
Straight for nothing.
Yeah.
And you've got this like beautiful gift to kind of do that.
Yeah.
That's success in itself. To be able to think like that.
It's pretty good.
Yeah.
But I think that's why I'm the go-to person then when, this is the scenario. But a comedian said to me a few months ago, talking to him before a gig, and he said, I don't know if it's a Bolton thing or if it's a you thing. Yeah. He said, but you answer questions with the least amount of words that is humanly possible. Yeah. It's like, what is the point? Wasting words. Yeah. He said, it's just in, answered, done, what's next? I said, yeah.
That's you, that.
Yeah.
That's a you thing.
Who's got time for anything else? I've got time. I don't waste words, I don't waste anything. But it made me laugh that that's what he saw when he spoke to me.
What an amazing thing, though. It's just like when the shit is a fan I'm going to with Maura.
Yeah.
Maura. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What a fucking great person. That person, that sage, that the sage advice. He can cut through all the bullshit and go, you've got this problem. Have a think about doing this.
Yeah.
What an amazing person to be around. Have a friend.
Thanks, you've just boosted my ego and I'm in a good mood now.
So, how can we get people to back up Northwest to make donations, or what do you need, Maura?
Well, at the moment, bizarrely, food seems to be the thing. So one of our commitments to young people is that we won't ask them to go to a food bank. Not that there's anything wrong with going to a food bank, but I think the food banks are oversubscribed as it is. Yeah. But what we don't want is for them to bump into people from the families that they're trying to stay away from, as well as anything else. But also, you know, to not have to go through that is quite a big ask, I think. So we do it internally. So we're just a bit low on non-perishable food at the moment, but every now and then we'll have a campaign called the 10 Tin Challenge, and people are usually really great, so I'm going to put that out on social media this week. Yeah. But we have the opportunity to support us financially through like a patronage system as a Guardian, and that's £1,000 a year. That money goes into a kitty that we only spend on young people. We don't use, there's no running costs, no admin, no management, nothing. Literally every penny out of it would be spent on something that a young person needs, whether it's food, clothing, ID, travel expenses for college, whatever, toiletries and that sort of stuff. And the people who sign up as Guardians, we meet 3 times a year, but we meet informally because getting the young people to sort of stand up and say, oh, this is what backup have done for me, and, you know, I've done this, I've done it. Well, number one, they don't always want to do it. It's quite a lot to ask, but also it can feel a bit samey. I don't really want to exploit the young people or sensationalise some of the situations that they've been in, because some of them are horrific. So what we do is we either have afternoon tea or a coffee morning, and everybody's just milling around, so you can't really tell who's doing what, and we'll just facilitate conversations so that Guardians can meet young people, have a look around the projects, have a look what the accommodation's like, because they're really nice facilities. And then once a year we go bowling, and every year that's getting bigger and bigger. So we'll have 8 lanes, young people, staff and guardians in each team, and we just play bowling all night, have something to eat. And that's the thing that has the biggest impact with people, where they're like, they're just regular kids, aren't they? I said, yep, that's exactly what they are. They're just kids. And, you know, they just want to go bowling. It's not hard. So that's what the money's for. It's there for all the extras that you know, doesn't come through any more formal routes. All the running costs are paid for through those grants and contracts and stuff which I bring in. So that's how they can help us. And coming to the events that we run. So we're doing an all-day music festival on the 13th of July called B-Fest up at the arena, which is like tribute acts all day.
Yeah.
You know, food, face painting, all that you would expect from a music festival. That we've got that all day, so we're selling tickets for that at the moment. And we've got a ladies' lunch later in the year where Nina Conte is coming. I mean, how lucky is this? I'm trying to break into the comedy world, and through organising a ladies' lunch with Nina Conte as the main, you know, headline entertainments, and I get to be able to say that I've supported Nina Conte on tour, which is not strictly true, but it is. So I'm, you know, it's all about spin. It's all about spin. So I'll be doing that. Yes, I'm Nina Conte's support act for one day.
What are we on Facebook? What's our domain name? How can people? Are we on Backup Northwest on Facebook? backupnorthwest.co.uk.
One of them's Backup Northwest and one of them's Backup Charity. I can't remember which way around it is, but we're on Instagram, Facebook, X, and TikTok. Yeah. Just TikTok. I've got this young lad at work keep coming up saying, "Can you just do this? Can you just do that for TikTok?" I think, "Oh, for fuck's sake, I'm too old for this shit." But anyway, that's all right. Yeah, we're on everything as Backup Northwest or Backup Charity.
And the events that you host for your comedy nights at, where is it? The Spice Valley?
Yeah, that would be under all the socials on the Feather Fixer.
Right,
so everything's on there. Yeah.
Thanks, Maura.
Yeah, no, thanks for asking me to come in. Really enjoyed it.
I have as well. I
feel like I've had a bit of therapy as well.
You know, and listen, there's a few times I was just like, oh my God, these kids just need a fucking leg up, man.
I know.
Yeah.
It is heartbreaking.
Yeah.
It really is. I mean, we dealt with a young man a few months ago and he's type 1 diabetes.
Shit.
And he's just not looking after himself, not taking the insulin, really angry about having to deal with this disease. But actually just hurting himself out of anger, smoking weed, not eating properly. And I think you're going to end up dead because you're so annoyed at life. But you're alive, you know, stop pissing about. It's really hard. It's really hard to sort of stand back and watch people. But, you know, we got there eventually, but it took months and I thought, well, he's going to end up dead. I mean, there's a few times where I've looked at some cases and thought, the best thing we've done with this person is keep them alive. Either through risky behaviours or, you know, people that are around and stuff like that. I mean, we've got a young woman who, one of our workers saw her begging at the traffic lights, you know, where the people sit there and ask money off drivers. And she drove past her and thought, she looks familiar, I don't know why. So by the time she drove to work, she remembered that she went to school with her own daughter. So she went back and said to her, like, what's the crack? What's happening? Anyway, to cut a long story short, it were her dad that were forcing her to do this, to feed his heroin addiction. So, you know, they don't stand a chance if their own dad's going to do that, do they? But then we've got other young people who are lovely. I mean, they're all lovely in their own way, but, you know, got real great independent skills. Both parents died within 18 months of each other. They've literally got nowhere to live. And there's no other reason for being homeless than that, than they're grieving and they've lost both the parents in a short space of time. There's all kinds of scenarios where people end up with us. It's really sad. That's why it sort of makes me want to do more then, even, because you just think, that's, you know, this is not a blame game. I think some people sort of think, oh, I bet they're all naughty kids, naughty and bad. Yeah. That's why they're homeless.
That's the perception.
It's like you couldn't be further from the truth if you tried. They're really damaged.
We just need to amplify this message, mate. And that's why you're coming on the podcast and, you know, you getting out there, just doing what you were born to do.
Yeah.
In spreading this word. There's nothing else you can do but change people's perceptions of what's going on within this. Powerful. I'm glad you're fucking there, mate. At the fucking
go back
front.
and do a bit more.
Thanks for listening, everybody. Goodbye.